Hey everybody, so I am really sorry for this last week of the 12-week challenge. Even though it's week 13, I had promised you two workouts, and quite frankly getting ready for school, getting ready for the next challenge, which is the 13-week Positive Emotions in Motion challenge for overcoming emotional eating, and just some day-to-day stuff and some good personal stuff that's occupying my time has really gotten in the way of that, and I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do, like I said in my post, is I'm going to give you one workout this week to do to finish everything off. We'll give you a deload routine to do next week, and then the week after will be the Positive Emotions in Motions challenge to overcome emotional eating, and I promise I will be more consistent there in getting the material out. There's going to be 2 posts a week like there was in this challenge. There's going to be a theory, quote-unquote, post. It's not really a lot of theory, it's more of an explanation of what we'll be working on later on in the week, when I'm going to provide a video which will take you through either some information. It'll be more informational at first, but then pretty quickly we'll get into some exercises that you can do to help you to deal with whatever your particular struggles are with eating. And I think we're going to find out in the challenge that it may not all be emotional eating. There may be other things going on. Regardless, I'm going to show you what to do no matter what in order to manage whatever your particular situation is. There's a questionnaire I've put out. Most of you have seen it. 10 of you have answered it already. Thank you. That's going to give me a sense of the things that I need to focus on for the people who are interested. Okay, so stay tuned. That's coming up not next week, but the week after. I'll keep you posted. But today, we are doing the last of the mini circuit workouts. We have so far done some exercises where we've changed the rep count. So we've done like a 1 1/2 rep. So we up, halfway down, up, all the way down. That's 1 rep, etc. Right? And then we had another one where I changed the tempo. So we were doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 second, hold and up, and then right back down again for 4 seconds. Okay, so we've changed the way we do the rep. In one example, we've changed the tempo in another example, and now we're going to change how we're doing the lift. We are going to do something called isometrics, which some of you might have done before. And it's just a different way of working out. You'll probably feel it, even if you're in shape, if you choose to do exercises a little differently from doing a regular rep count or a different rep count to doing isometrics. Usually it shows up in your body a day or 2 afterwards and you feel it because you're doing something different. Isometrics are a great way of building strength and also power and speed if applied appropriately. So what we're going to do is we're going to do mini circuits. We're going to do 2 exercises in the first, 2 in the second, and we're going to do each exercise for 30 seconds. So it's a total of 2 minutes, but we're going to count 30 seconds per exercise rather than counting reps, like 10 reps or 15 reps per exercise for 2 minutes. We're going to do each exercise for 30 seconds, okay? So I'm going to give you options as per usual. The first exercise in the first set is an isometric squat. What does that look like? Well, you're going to come down to the bottom position of a squat and you're going to hold it. Isometric means iso, same, metric, distance. So the muscle is neither getting longer nor shorter, okay? So as I drive up in a squat, my glutes contract, my quads contract, and my hamstrings contract, the muscle shortens. And as I do the negative or eccentric portion of the motion coming down, they lengthen, okay? So this is known as the eccentric, okay, where the muscles lengthen, and the concentric, where they contract, and then here is isometric, in that the distance stays the same, okay? So we're going to hold that for 30 seconds, and then we're going to go into the next one, and I'm going to encourage you, if you have weights, I'm just going to grab plate weights for this, but you can use dumbbells or water bottles, cans, you know, the usual stuff. The next one we're going to do is a bent row, but a concentric bent row. So we're going to pull up, squeeze our shoulder blades together, keep pulling the elbows to the ceiling, and hold that position for 30 seconds, okay? So we're doing the motion, except we're holding it at the top. We're not rowing, okay? This is concentric, eccentric, concentric, eccentric. This is isometric, okay? So we're holding the distance. at the top. I'm going to say every 5 seconds or so, ask yourself, what would it feel like to squeeze my shoulder blades a little more, to pull my elbows up to the ceiling, because as the weights start to feel heavier, you're going to start to let them go. So remind yourself every 5 seconds or so, let's get back into position. Get back into position, okay? I'll demonstrate the actual exercise with no weights in my hands, but I'd encourage you to use weights if you can. Now, alternatives, okay? Well, again, doing isometrics, you can hold onto a wall or not and lift one leg. You can hold one leg for 15 seconds, one leg for 15 seconds, or you can just go one leg for 30, the other leg for 30, and then adjust the next exercise accordingly, okay? So normally we would do 2 sets of each, so I would do 30 seconds of squats, 30 seconds of a concentric isometric row, and then squats, and then a row again, right? In this case, if you're doing the hip flexion, and by the way, you can also do the donkey kick and hold it. Hold your glutes squeezed here, either touching a wall, touching a chair, or nothing, right? This is also good for balance, right? Hold this for 30 seconds or even 15 seconds. You're gonna feel that glute start to fatigue, okay? You can't see it, but I'm pushing, okay? Pushing as far as I can, and I'm holding that position. I'm not just letting it sit there. I'm pushing out. It's like I'm pushing against something. And again, every 5 seconds or so, ask yourself, what would it feel like to push a little further? To push a little further, right? So you can hold that one for 15 or 30 seconds, and the other one for 15 or 30 seconds, and just keep moving around the circuit that way, okay? So if you were doing it 30 seconds and 30 seconds, the circuit might look like hold this for 30, hold this for 30, hold this for 30, and now you only have 30 seconds left, so when you come back around to the legs, hold this for 15, hold this for 15, and then you get to rest, okay? So, those are your options for that one, okay? You can do this, okay, and again, I'm doing a glute squeeze here. I'm trying to keep my knee as high as possible, and I'm saying, what would it feel like every 5 seconds to really raise that knee to the ceiling? Or you can also, out to the side, an isometric abduction. And again, staying on one leg is a good chance to practice balance if you can, okay? So that's the first set. Second set, we're going to do an isometric lunge, okay? I'm gonna come down as low as you can, if you can do the lunge, and hold this for 15 or 30 seconds. I'm going to recommend 15 on the lunge because they are really hard to hold in isometric. Like 15 on one side, then you come down to the other side, hold that one for 15, okay? That's 30 seconds. And then the next exercise is going to be an isometric delt raise, okay? Or a shoulder press. So what you would do is you would hold on to weights and you would hold them at the bottom position. This is not really going to work if you don't have weights, okay? If you don't have any weights to hold on to, I'm going to recommend that you hold your arms out to the side or out to the front for 30 seconds. But try to actually have a weight you can hold on to make it challenging. Unless you have dumbbells that produce a significant amount of resistance, unless they're fairly heavy, you're not going to want to do this. You're going to want to either do a hold out to the side or a hold out to the front, okay? But if you do have heavy dumbbells, hold them here, okay? And what you're it's gonna be kind of like a push-pull thing where you're pushing up enough so that you got some force, that you're not just resting your arms against your body, okay? But at the same time, there's a bit of a stretch going on in that your deltoid muscles are not fully contracted, okay? So it's kind of maintaining an equilibrium. So let me get some dumbbells and I'll show you what it would look like. So for me, for this exercise, I would use heavier dumbbells and holding them here. I can feel this, okay? I'm pressing up to hold them up, but also pressing up to resist falling down, okay? But I'm at a position where also my delts are being stretched a little bit. It's kind of weird. You have to find this equilibrium point and ask yourself, do I feel like I'm doing any work? And if you don't feel it, it may be because your dumbbells aren't heavy enough or you're not holding it in the right position, okay? Generally speaking, if you don't feel like you're doing any work, just push them up a little higher and then you'll feel it, okay? But like I said, If you don't have heavy dumbbells, maybe hold on to a bottle of water in each hand, out to the sides or out to the front. Holding that for 30 seconds, whew, you're gonna feel it, okay? So a set might look like 15-second hold on one side, 15-second hold on the other side, 30-second hold here, do my lunges again, 15 and 15, and then maybe a 30-second hold to the front, right? So you're working your front delts as well as your side delts. So there it is. Those are our circuits. I'm going to set my timer, and we will go for 30 seconds, or yeah, for the squats we'll do 30 seconds, and for the bent row we'll do 30 seconds. Now, by the way, you could do the squats. But remember we did a wall sit a few weeks ago? I did it up against a fence outside, where you're sitting up against a wall and you're sitting down until your legs are at 90 degrees. That's okay. Or also if you have a stability ball, you can put it in your back. I think we did those one week too. And sit down as low as you can until your legs are at 90 degrees. That's another way of doing this, okay? But I prefer to do it squatting, not against a fence or not against a wall, just because it's a little bit less stable, if you can, okay? All right, so here we go, 30 seconds. First set begins now. Hold the squat position in the bottom. Okay, try not to slouch, and don't come down way too low either. Here, my glutes and my quads are just being stretched. I want to be up so that they're tense and I can feel it. If your knees can handle it, your hips can handle it, your thighs should be parallel to the ground, you should be back on your heels, nice and straight, chest out, head up, core nice and tight as you're holding the position, okay? And you're going to start to feel your legs shake a bit. That's all good, okay? Don't lean like this, hands up. Okay, there we go. We're going to go into the next one, the bent row, and we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Here we go. Pull it up, squeeze the shoulder blades, don't shrug, squeeze the shoulder blades and pull those elbows to the ceiling, okay? If the weights you have, if you find this is too easy, let's say you got really light weights, okay, move your arms out. Squeeze those shoulder blades as you're holding them out to the sides, okay? That's going to be a harder exercise mostly on your rear deltoid muscles. But hopefully you have dumbbells or cans or bottles of water that are heavy enough so that you feel it here, okay? So there we go. Okay, so we're going right back into the squats now, the isometric squat. Here we go. Hold that position for 30 seconds. And remember, if that doesn't work, hold this one for 15 seconds on one side, either holding onto a wall or not. Hold for 15 seconds on the other side. Really push out, squeeze that glute, right? If you're not holding onto a wall, pick a spot on the wall, keep your eyes on it, keep this knee bent, okay? Push out. Keep that pushed out, okay? There we go. You've done each of those for 15 seconds. And final one, we're gonna do this here. We'll do dumbbells actually. Hold it. Hold. These are challenging. This is gonna be a challenge for me, okay? Can feel everything starting to shake, and that's good. My shoulder blades want to separate, my arms want to come down, so I'm going to do that thing. Ask myself, what would it feel like to go an inch higher towards the ceiling? Squeeze my shoulder blades a little more. What would that feel like? And I'll do it again. Ooh, because I can feel my arms want to fall down. Okay, there we go. Folks, that's set number one. Done. Fantastic. Minute and a half rest. Check in with yourself, especially if you're doing the squat and holding a low squat for 30 seconds. How do your joints feel? You know, the question I'm always going to be asking, how do the joints feel? How do your hips feel? How do your knees feel? Ankles too, although ankles are not so often a problem. It's usually the knees, second the hips, and way third comes the ankles. But are those knees okay? Can they handle another set of that? Great. If they can't handle another set of that, then consider don't go down all the way, maybe go down only halfway, or if that doesn't feel like enough to you, choose one of the other alternative exercises that I've given you, okay? Got another 45 seconds. As you're finishing up, again, and I've promoted this probably the past 2 or 3 weeks, I really want you to be thinking about what kind of exercises you like, what kind you don't. How do you like lifting? Do you like doing just regular repetitions? Do you like doing 1 and 1/2 repetitions? Do you like doing really slow repetitions? Do you like these crazy isometric movements? What do you like? What works for you? And maybe you need to access them all in your workout programs. You do a little bit of this sometimes, a little bit of that sometimes. That's great, you know? Big circuits, mini circuits, metronome training. What works for you? Okay, here we go. Ready to go. Second set. And we're off. This is the very last working workout of the Fit in 20 12-week workout challenge, right? This is actually week 13. Like I said, sorry, I'm only giving you one workout, but you can go through, you can go back and you can start from the beginning again if you want, or you can start from, I would say, week number 3 if you've been keeping up with these workouts, right? Because in week number 3, that was the first week that we did 5 exercises instead of working up to the 5 exercises. Okay, here we go, bent row. So first week we had done 3 exercises only. Really squeeze those shoulder blades, pull those elbows up. Second week we had done 4, and then the third week we'd done 5. By the way, if this doesn't work, no problem. Just stand up and squeeze your shoulder blades and hold it like this. I'm sorry, I should have told you that in the first set. Sometimes bending over doesn't work for people. Not a problem. But really focus here on squeezing those shoulder blades and holding it, okay? Every 5 seconds, ask yourself to squeeze a little more. Okay, good. We're back to the squats. Or, give you another alternative this time. We're going to hold for 15 seconds. A hip flexion, okay? Knee up, knee as high as you can go, up to the ceiling, and keep thinking every 5 seconds or so, ooh, what would it be like to go a little higher? And then 15-second mark, change, right? Okay, a little higher. Feeling that hip flexor work, that muscle right in the crook here. Raises your leg. Want to be crazy, stick your leg out straight. That's really hard. Okay, good. And one last set of either the bent row, holding it, squeezing those shoulder blades, pulling those elbows to the ceiling. Nice tight core, nice straight back. You're not slouching. You're sticking that chest out. It's easier to do when you're doing this movement because you're pulling your shoulder blades together, which forces you to stick your chest out, but it's good to keep in mind. Don't have your head way back like this either, okay? And of course, stand if you want to. You can be using a band. Hold it, squeeze those shoulder blades. There we go, set number 2. Let's set it for the rest. All right, again, check in. How are you feeling? Check in with your upper body too. Shoulders can often be a problem for people. Tight shoulders, that leads to shoulder pain when people are working out. That's one thing to watch out for. Can also, your back might feel unstable. We were doing the bent over stuff. It might feel, yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit of discomfort in my lower back trying to hold that position. That might be a cue for you to either use less weight, or if that doesn't feel like enough of a challenge to you, then either use a band, standing up, really squeezing those shoulder blades, or if you have no band, really just focus on squeezing the shoulder blades. Remember how I said a few weeks ago we're going to be doing stuff for posture as well? Well, that's really good for posture, really focusing on standing, pulling those shoulder blades together, sticking that chest out. Really good for posture, okay? 30 seconds, we're back in, so get ready. This is going to be the last set of the first mini circuit. Then we're into the second mini circuit, and then that's it, okay? Next week, like I said, is going to be a deload. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post the same deload that I did in week number 7 after your first 6 weeks, your first 6 working weeks. And then you can do that a couple days. And then after that, you decide how you want to continue on. Like I said, you can continue on from week 3. Just make sure that every 4 to 6 weeks you deload, okay? Make sure you do that and just keep following through on the workouts. As you begin, I hope you're going to join me for the Overcoming Emotional Eating Challenge. Here we go, last set, starting out with the squats. Hold that position, right? And again, if this isn't working for you, choose another exercise. If you are doing the squats, try not to let your knees collapse. That might be happening. You're going to feel like you're rolling on the inside of your foot. Really push those knees out. Be on the heels of the foot, but also feel your whole foot touching the ground. Okay, the outside the inside, the heel especially. Not the toes so much, but from the ball of the foot back, and make sure the outside of your feet are touching the ground. Okay, all right. Into the next one. Let's start it. Okay, row and hold. Again, hold on to weights if you want to. Here, I'll do that just to encourage you. Okay, hold these up. Squeeze those shoulder blades hard as I can. And, oh, feel my arms slipping, so what would it feel like to come up a little higher? Pull those elbows up, squeeze the shoulder blades a little more, right? Ooh, good. I can feel myself shaking a bit. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm feeling it. All right, put these down. Second set. Squats might not be working for you, that's okay. How about this one? Really squeeze that leg. I'm gonna feel it right in the outside here, knee bent. I'm looking at a spot on the wall so I don't topple over. And as I do this, every 5 seconds, remind myself, don't let the leg fall down. What would it feel like to go a little higher? You know, that's 15 seconds on one side, right? Up on the other side, same thing. What would it feel like to go a little higher? Ooh, I can feel that muscle working, okay? And higher. Keep that muscle working. There we go, okay? Now we're into the very last set. I'm gonna do this one standing up. Like I said, you may have a band, or you may not. Open your arms up like this. I find that when I open my arms up like this, I get a better squeeze on the shoulder blades, right? So if you have a band, you can hold the band out here, you can hold a heavier band here in a row, or if you have no band, have your arms out like this. Really squeeze those shoulder blades. Don't shrug your shoulders, keep them down, but squeeze them. Stick that chest up, nice and proud, okay? All right, here we are. Set number 1, done. How are you feeling? How was that? Now remember, the second set we're going into has lunges in it. Lunges are generally harder on the knees and the hips rather than easier. So if you were starting to feel, and my knees are okay, but they were starting to be like, we might not be okay, might be time to back off and try one of the other exercises, okay? One thing that I didn't show you, but that you can do, either on a set of stairs, or on a stepper, or even on a stool, is hold for 15 seconds a single leg squat like this. This is kind of a lunge pattern, right? Hold it for 15 seconds, and then change to the other side. So you're leaning forward, not too far that you're on your toes, you're still on your heel, but you're holding that position, okay? This would count as a lunging motion. Changing your legs, that's a lunge, right? As you go up and down stairs. So a single leg squat in some ways is like a lunge. So that would be a good alternative to the lunge. And then if that doesn't work, again, do the hip flexion, do the hip extension, you know, the donkey kick, really focusing on kicking the leg out as far as you can, you know, and keep it bent. Don't put it down like this. Keep it bent if you can, if it doesn't bother your knee, and really focus on squeezing that glute. All right, here we go. We are into set number 1 of 3 of the final mini circuit. So I'm going to start. I'm going to set it for, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold on to the timer. I'm going to keep it set for 30 seconds. When I'm coming down, I'm only going to hold it for 15, okay? So you can change with me at 15 seconds if you want. My knee is just above the ground. That may not work for you. A full lunge like this, I'm staying on the heel of my front foot. There's going down to the other side now. Okay? So again, you can see I'm on the heel of my front foot, my back's nice and straight, not wobbly, so lunges work for me. But isometric lunges, man, these things are killers, I'll tell you. Okay, all right, good. Now, we're gonna grab onto a small weight, and we're gonna hold like this for 30 seconds. Okay, small weight, but it's big enough so that at the end of it, I'm feeling like, whoo, I can feel a burn on my shoulders like they're on fire, okay? This one might not actually be big enough for me, so I may go a little heavier on the next set. Okay? Ready to go back to the lunges? Good. What we'll do this time is we'll do the alternative that I showed you, which is, and we'll do it for 15 seconds. okay? An isometric single leg squat, okay? Holding that position, making sure I'm staying on the heel of my foot, not going over on the toes. The challenging part is staying on the heel. I'm going to change sides now. That was 15 seconds. So doing the whole thing for 30 seconds. 15 seconds of this is kind of enough, let me tell you. It's a challenge. It's a balance challenge, you know. Some of you may have to hold on to something while you do this, not a problem. And there we go. Okay, now I'm going to grab heavier weights this time. We're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do a front raise. I'm going to hold it out to the front, okay? And I can feel it. This one's going to be heavy enough. And you know what, folks? I'm a strong guy. It's only 5 pounds. If you're holding on to a 1 liter bottle of water, that's 2.2 pounds. That is more than enough, trust me. Keep your arms straight, don't let them bend. Your arms want to bend to shorten the length of the lever. Keep them straight, make it nice and hard on the shoulders. And here we go. Okay, set number 1 done. That means we've got 2 more sets, and then this whole 12-week challenge is over. It's gone over into 13 weeks, and there'll be a 14th week with the deload, but, you know, if you've come this far and you've stuck with it this far, you really need to give yourself a pat on the back. And if you haven't, no big deal, okay? You can do it again. Those videos are there on my YouTube channel forever. Just start at week 1 and carry it all the way through. Just follow the directions. But you realize, if you have stuck to this, and you, not perfectly, maybe you've only done 1 workout for 1 week. Maybe you won't be getting to this workout for 3 or 4 weeks from now, but you got to it. So that means that for at least 3 months, if not more, you've stuck with this thing, okay? You need to pat yourself on the back for that. That is absolutely fantastic. Reach over, give yourself a pat on the back. My flexibility isn't that good. I can only pat myself on my upper neck, but anyways, that's how it is. We were doing lunges, folks. Check in with your knees. How are they feeling? Mine are okay, so it wasn't bothering me. I was feeling a burn in my quads, in my glutes a bit, but not in my knees. I wasn't feeling any pain or pressure in my knees. That's good. That means that I can do lunges again for the 2nd set, but if you're feeling joint pain, don't. Try this alternative, or try one of the alternatives that we were doing before, just holding, whatever. Here we go, okay? 15 seconds aside for the lunges. I'm gonna hold this. And again, you get very shaky very quick, okay? My knee here is just above the ground. My back is nice and straight. I'm not wobbling side to side. Right, change sides. Here we go. Pretty quick change too. I don't stop the timer. I just take about a second or 2 to change over. That's okay. Yeah, I can really feel it on this side. This is my weaker lunge side. Okay, good. All right, so back to what we were doing before. Grab my weights. I don't know why I put them back, but anyways, up to the sides and hold. By the way, when I do this, I feel a little bit of tendonitis in my right elbow. I've got some tendonitis in one of my forearm extensors. That's another thing that you have to listen for on some of these smaller movements too. You might feel your tendons acting up. Pay attention to that, okay? My tendonitis isn't so bad that I shouldn't do this one, but it's something to pay attention to. If it got any worse, then I would. In truth, it's being treated, so it's getting better, but even still, here, we're gonna do one of the alternative ones this time. Hold this for 15 seconds. If it wasn't getting better, if it was getting worse, I would not do that exercise. I would force myself to not do it. Okay, other side. Halfway through. Folks, the 2nd set of 3 sets, which is the final group of 3 sets in the last mini circuit, the very last workout, the 12-week workout challenge. Okay, here we go. And start the timer. And up to the front. Yep, and again, I can feel my tendonitis a bit when I do this. I want to be aware of that. I want to pay attention to it. Just because you're feeling a little bit of tendonitis doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't be doing the exercise. Maybe you should. You want to keep it moving, you want to keep it warm, you want to keep range of motion. elasticity, although tendons aren't very elastic, but at least elasticity in the muscle. You want to use the muscle, but maybe tone it down just a bit. Okay, final rest for the final set of the very last workout of the challenge. And again, be thinking about what did I like, what didn't I like? Exercises, different ways of lifting, 1 and 1/2 reps, slow 4-second lifting tempo, isometrics like we're doing today. Do I like bigger circuits with 5 exercises or mini circuits with 2 or 3 exercises each, 2 circuits per workout? Do I like the metronome training? You know, some people resent the metronome. They're like, hate having to keep up to that thing, right? Some people love it because it shows very objectively when you're progressing. You know, if you're doing bodyweight squats for 2 minutes at 75 beats per minute, and then the next week you do it at 80 beats per minute for 2 minutes and you're able to keep up with the metronome, you've progressed, okay? You've progressed to the point where you're able to do it faster. And it's objective, right? You know if you're pushing yourself to failure at the end of every 2 minutes, when you increase it the next week, you're actually progressing. So that's one of the cool things about metronome training, right? Or you can do the same number of beats per minute, but let's say do squats the following week holding 5-pound dumbbells. And then the same beats per minute the week after holding 10-pound dumbbells. And as long as you're working to failure every time, if you can do the same amount of time with heavier weight, again, that's another way of progressing. Okay, folks, this is it. Ready to go. Let's start out with, this time I'm going to do, we'll skip the lunges. We're going to do that single leg squat. I got to keep an eye on the timer because I'm going to change over at 15 seconds, okay? 18, 17, 16, 15. Good. Keeping my weight on my heel. I can feel it on the ball of my foot, but also on the heel, and I'm feeling it on the outside and the inside of my foot. So I'm not leaning in, leaning out too much. I'm keeping the weight balanced. Okay, coming up to the end. My other foot isn't touching the ground, by the way. Okay, here we go. Holding the weights to the side. Remember, a 1 liter bottle of water is more than enough for most people to feel a really good shoulder workout here, okay? And just to show you what this looks like, it's like a scarecrow, right? I'm not out here, I'm right out to the sides. Holding for the full 30 seconds. With 10 more seconds to go. Your shoulders might be on fire, that's all to the good. All right. Okay. Final set. We'll skip the lunges. And we'll do donkey kick, holding it, squeezing that glute, and then asking myself, what would it feel like to kick out a little further? Keeping that knee bent if I can, then further. Really feel that glute squeeze. Coming up on the halfway point, going to change now. Kick out and squeeze. Feel that. Push it out a little more, squeeze. Got 10 seconds to go. Stare at a point on the wall if you're not holding on to anything. Feel free to hold on to something if you need it for balance. Okay, folks, this is the very last exercise in this whole challenge. Here we go, up to the front, and hold it. Okay, again, you see my arms are straight, just like they were to the sides. It's even a little harder sometimes when you hold it a little higher. Depends, you'll find the point at which you feel the most stress. That's the point I invite you to hold it at, as long as your shoulders can handle it. Good thing about holding it up only this high is that generally it's easier on the shoulders than doing a full shoulder press. There it is, folks. That is the whole workout. And I gotta say, this has been a 3-month plus journey. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed putting these workouts together. Like I said, they're there for you to use as much as you want, in whatever order you want, you know. Pick the ones you like, don't do the ones you don't like. And by the way, if after doing all this, you've tried all these different ways of working out and you're like, you know what? I prefer walking, or I prefer a treadmill, or I prefer an elliptical trainer like the one I have here, or swimming, or something, anything, badminton, you know? Whatever your thing is, yoga, do it. You know, if this doesn't work for you, at least you tried it for 3 months and you found out that this is not really my thing. And know this, that there are a million other ways of doing resistance training. I've given you just kind of a basic introductory course. Lots of other ways to do it. So if you're interested in what they might be, you can always reach out and we can talk about that, and I can make suggestions, give you routines to do. And this, I won't charge you for any of this, you know, I mean, unless you wanted to sign up with me, but this is not about that, right? I will point you to resources that kind of take you to a different place or maybe the next level. And who knows, maybe someday I'll do another challenge where I'll move it to the next level, okay? So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you, and maybe some more join me for the 13-week Positive Emotions in Motion, Overcoming Emotional Eating Challenge, starting not next week, because that's the deload week, the week after. You can expect the first PDF or handout I'll be posting will be about what emotional eating is and what it isn't. And it'll be a chance, if you haven't already filled out the questionnaire that I have in the group, and I'll post it again, it'll be a chance for you to kind of self-assess. What do you really struggle with? Is it emotional eating or is it something else? And then after that, I'll post a video talking about the same thing. That's week 1, so handout video. And then the following weeks are going to be less about theory and more about what do we do about it, okay? How do we deal with each one of these things? So we will see you there. I look forward to it, and yeah, see you on the other side.